Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning into News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi and you're watching a special broadcast of the top stories, the stories that you might have missed out on. And I promise you, you'll get to see a story or two that you wouldn't have seen in any other bulletins. Well, that's a guarantee that I'm taking. Meanwhile, we're bringing you this special broadcast live from our studios here in the national capital, and this jacket has been tailor-made for me by none other than Paul Moll. We've got a long list of stories to cover, so without further ado, the top news of the hour. Back-to-back earthquakes of magnitude 4.6 and 6.2 on the Richter scale jolted Nepal at an interval of 25 minutes, with strong tremors traveling right up to the national capital region in New Delhi and other parts of North India. A National Center for Seismology, an official from the seismology department, said that the first quake of magnitude 4.6 hit Nepal at a depth of 10 kilometers at 2:25 p.m. A stronger quake, magnitude 6.2 on the Richter scale, jolted the Himalayan nation at 2:51 p.m. today. Now, the USGS, it however recorded the magnitudes of the quakes at 4.9 and 5.7 on the Richter scale respectively. Few buildings in Bajhang district suffered damages, while the first earthquake was recorded 43 kilometers northeast of Depayal in Nepal. The second quake that followed was recorded 8 kilometers northeast of Depayal in Nepal at about 2:51 today. Meanwhile, people in the national capital and the national capital region reported tremors, strong tremors rather, after the second quake and rushed out of their offices and high-rise buildings. Take a look. Several reports, several visuals coming across from various North Indian cities, right from Chandigarh as well, visuals coming across from various parts of the national capital. This as Nepal recorded two back-to-back tremors, visuals that you're seeing from people's mobile phones, citizen journalism right out of North India. Meanwhile, there's a reaction coming across from the official at the seismology wing. Let's listen to what they had to say.
का जो भूकंप जो आया है वो बेसिकली पश्चिमी नेपाल मतलब वेस्टर्न नेपाल रीजन में है, जो कि हमारे उत्तराखंड के रीजन से सटा हुआ है जोन है। और ये जो अर्थक्वेक जहां आया है वो हमारे जो दो प्लेट्स हैं, जो इंडियन प्लेट और यूएसएन प्लेट, उसके कोलिजन बाउंड्री पर आया है। और अगर पास्ट में भी अर्थक्वेक देखें तो यहाँ पर नवंबर में भी अर्थक्वेक आ चुके हैं, अभी जनवरी रिसेंट में जनवरी में भी आए हैं, दैट इज 6.3 मैग्नीट्यूड का अर्थक्वेक था, ठीक है, जो कि दिल्ली में भी फेल्ट हुआ। अभी का जो अर्थक्वेक आया है वो अगर यहाँ पर आप मैप देखेंगे तो ये जो है 6.2 का है, जो कि बहुत सैलो डेप्थ पर था, मतलब 5 किलोमीटर डेप्थ पर आया अर्थक्वेक आया है, जो कि 2:51 14:51 पर आया। और अभी तक इस अर्थक्वेक के आने के बाद, क्योंकि जैसे बड़े अर्थक्वेक आते हैं उसके बाद उसके आफ्टर शॉक्स भी होते हैं, तो ये अर्थक्वेक जो अभी आए हैं उसके अभी तक हम लोग 2 आफ्टर शॉक भी रिकॉर्ड कर चुके हैं इस रीजन में। जैसे आप देख रहे हैं रेड वाला जोन देख रहे हैं, ये 2 आफ्टर शॉक उसी रीजन में 10 किलोमीटर के अराउंड में आ चुके हैं। और जैसा कि मैंने पहले ही बताया कि ये कोलिजन बाउंड्री यहाँ पर अगर पास्ट में भी देखें तो बड़े अर्थक्वेक आ चुके हैं, जैसे नवंबर में आए हैं 5.8 के, 6.2 के जनवरी में आए, और ये जो है ये 6.2 का फिर ये अर्थक्वेक आया। ये सब जितने भी अर्थक्वेक हैं ये सब वेस्टर्न नेपाल में कंसंट्रेटेड है। और ये कोलिजन बाउंड्री जहाँ स्ट्रेस बिल्डअप होता है और एनर्जी जब स्ट्रेस बिल्डअप होता है तो अगर उसकी जो रॉक की कैपेसिटी होती है उसकी बियॉन्ड जाती है तो वो ब्रेक होता है, और ब्रेक होने पर अर्थक्वेक आते हैं। तो जैसे हिमालयन कोलिजन बाउंड्री अर्थक्वेक आते रहते हैं।
Well, meanwhile, lots of reactions of the people as well. Listen in to these voices of people from across the North Indian region on how they felt when the tremors came alive.
हम लोग ऑफिस में बैठ के काम कर रहे थे, अचानक से टेबल श्रिंक हुई तो हम लोगों ने देखा कि शायद कुर्सी हिलाई किसी ने, बट कोई था नहीं। तो हमने ऊपर भी देखा तो पंखा भी हिल रहा था, जिससे हम लोगों को पता चला कि भूकंप आया। तो हम सब लोग बाहर निकल कर आ गए। उसके बाद
हम लोग अपने ऑफिस में बैठे हुए थे तो सडनली ऐसा हुआ कि चेयर हिलने लगी और ऊपर जो पंखे थे वो भी हिलने लगे। तो हम लोग को लगा कि शायद कुछ ऐसा हुआ क्या, तो हमारे सडनली बॉस निकले कह रहे हैं।
Well, meanwhile, shifting our focus to national domestic politics. Why it's important? Well, because we're in the run-up to the 2024 general elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he's been on a blitzkrieg going to all these poll-bound states. In Telangana, the Prime Minister has made a startling claim. Addressing a rally in Nizamabad, the Prime Minister revealed that Telangana Chief Minister and BRS Chief K. Chandrasekhar Rao had met him in Delhi and expressed his intention to join the Bharatiya Janata Party-led NDA after the Hyderabad Municipal Corporation elections. Listen in.
100% सच्चाई बताने आया हूं मैं आज। जब हैदराबाद म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन का इलेक्शन हुआ, भारतीय जनता पार्टी 40-45 सीटें जीत करके आ गई। 48 किसी को बहुमत नहीं मिला। केसीआर को सपोर्ट की जरूरत थी और आपने देखा होगा हैदराबाद कॉरपोरेशन के चुनाव के पहले वो एयरपोर्ट में पूरी फौज लेकर के मेरा स्वागत करने के लिए आते थे, बढ़िया बढ़िया माला पहनाते थे, बहुत सम्मान करते थे, याद है ना? फिर क्या हुआ भाई, अचानक बंद हो गए। अचानक इतना गुस्सा क्यों निकल रहा है? इसका कारण यह है कि हैदराबाद के चुनाव के बाद, ये भी तारीख चेक कर ले मीडिया वाले, वो दिल्ली मुझे मिलने आए, बहुत बढ़िया मुझे शाल उड़ाई, बहुत मुझे आदर किया और इतना प्यार दिखाया, इतना प्यार दिखाया, ये केसीआर के कैरेक्टर में ही नहीं है। और फिर मुझे कहने लगे कि आपके नेतृत्व में देश प्रगति कर रहा है, हम भी एनडीए का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं, आप हमें एनडीए में शामिल कर दीजिए। मैंने कहा आगे क्या? बोले हैदराबाद में म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन में हमारी मदद कर दीजिए। मैंने केसीआर को कहा आपके कारनामे ऐसे हैं, मोदी आपके साथ जुड़ नहीं सकता है।
And well, that's not all. The Prime Minister on Tuesday laid the foundation stone for several development projects in Chhattisgarh as well. These projects have been estimated to be worth around 26,000 crore rupees. Now, Prime Minister Modi started his day by offering prayers at the Danteshwari temple in Bastar. The Prime Minister also inaugurated the NDMC's integrated steel plant in Nagarnar. He also dedicated a new rail line between Antagad and Taroki and a rail line doubling project between Jagdalpur and Dantewada. Now, addressing the Parivartan Sankalp Yatra rally, Prime Minister Modi once again attacked the Congress government in the state, saying that the Bhupesh Baghel-led government has degraded the condition of the state. He also said that corruption and crime levels in the state were at their peak, while development could only be seen on posters and not in reality.
कल से कांग्रेस ने एक अलग लाप आरापना शुरू कर दिया है। ये कांग्रेस के नेता कहते हैं जितनी आबादी उतना हक। मैं कहता हूं इस देश में अगर सबसे बड़ी कोई आबादी है तो वो आबादी गरीब है, और इसलिए मेरे लिए गरीब ही सबसे बड़ी आबादी है और गरीब का कल्याण यही मेरा मकसद है। मैं सोच रहा था कि पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री मनमोहन सिंह जी क्या सोच रहे होंगे। भारत के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री मनमोहन सिंह जी तो कहा करते थे कि देश के संसाधनों पर पहला हक माइनॉरिटी का है, अल्पसंख्यकों का है, और उसमें भी मुसलमानों का है। अब कांग्रेस कह रही है कि आबादी तय करेगी कि पहला हक किसका होगा। यानी क्या अब अल्पसंख्यकों का हक कांग्रेस कम करना चाहती है क्या? और आबादी के ही हिसाब से ही अब तय होने वाला है, तो पहला हक किसका होगा भाई? किसका होगा? आबादी किसकी ज्यादा है? किसका हक होगा? जरा कांग्रेस वाले स्पष्टता करें, क्या आबादी के हिसाब से हक मिलेगा क्या? तो क्या अल्पसंख्यकों को कांग्रेस हटाना चाहती है क्या? तो क्या सबसे बड़ी आबादी वाले हिंदू अब आगे बढ़कर अपने सारे हक ले लें क्या? मेरे परिवारजनों, मैं पिछले काफी समय से कह रहा हूं और फिर आज दोहरा रहा हूं कि कांग्रेस पार्टी को अब कांग्रेस के लोग नहीं चला रहे। कांग्रेस के बड़े बड़े नेता मुंह पे ताला लगा के बैठे हैं, न उनको पूछा जाता है, न वो ये सब देख करके बोलने की हिम्मत करते हैं। अब तो कांग्रेस को आउटसोर्स कर दिया गया है। कांग्रेस को अब ऐसे लोग चला रहे हैं, पर्दे के पीछे लोग ऐसी कमाल कर रहे हैं, ऐसे खेल खेल रहे हैं जो देश विरोधी ताकतों से मिले हुए हैं। मेरे परिवारजनों, कांग्रेस ने सिर्फ 5 वर्ष में छत्तीसगढ़ की जो हालत कर दी है, उसे पूरा देश देख रहा है। कांग्रेस के विधायकों और मंत्रियों ने जो कारनामे यहां किए हैं, उससे हर कोई त्रस्त है। चारों तरफ भ्रष्टाचार का बोलबाला है। छत्तीसगढ़ में अपराध चरम पर है। हत्याओं के मामले में छत्तीसगढ़ अग्रणी राज्यों में पहुंच चुका है। कभी कभी तो लगता है राजस्थान और छत्तीसगढ़ के बीच स्पर्धा चल रही है कि कहां सबसे ज्यादा हत्याएं होती है, कहां सबसे ज्यादा लूट होती है, कहां सबसे ज्यादा महिलाओं पर अत्याचार होते हैं। राजस्थान और छत्तीसगढ़ आजकल एक दूसरे की स्पर्धा में लगे हुए हैं। छत्तीसगढ़ में विकास या तो पोस्टर और बैनरों में दिखता है या फिर कांग्रेस के नेताओं की तिजोरी में दिखता है। कांग्रेस ने छत्तीसगढ़ को अगर दिया है तो वो है झूठा प्रचार और घोटालेबाज सरकार। झूठे प्रचार की आड़ में ये लोगों की आंख में धूल झोंकते हैं और आकंठ भ्रष्टाचार करते हैं।
Well, so the Prime Minister over there mocking Congress's stand on the caste survey. Jitni abadi, utna haq. That is exactly what the Prime Minister is questioning. But take a look at this. Just a day after Bihar released the caste survey report for its own state, pressure is rising on the Siddaramaiah-led Karnataka government, a Congress-ruled state, to release the report for the socio-economic census, which was submitted in 2017. Now, Congress General Secretary and member of Karnataka State Assembly, B.K. Hari Prasad, has demanded the Karnataka government to release the data. His demand has been backed by Food and Civil Supplies Minister K.H. Muniappa. The socio-economic survey had been initiated by Siddaramaiah during his first stint as Chief Minister. The survey was carried out by the commission headed by H. Kantharaj, and the report was submitted in 2017. However, the report is yet to be accepted by the government. The pressure is now increasing on Siddaramaiah to accept the report and release its data. Meanwhile, the Karnataka Backward Classes Commission has prepared a new report based on the figures of Kantharaj Committee. Chairman of the commission, Jaya Prakash Hegde, has said that the commission will submit the report to the government before November end this year. Meanwhile, Jaya Prakash Hegde, who spoke to TV9, he's already come on record and said, well, that the report is going to be submitted in front of the government by the end of November this year. And after the Bihar caste survey, well, pressure is really riling up on the current Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, under whose first chief ministerial stint back in 2017, the proposal was passed to carry out this socio-economic census of Karnataka. After Bihar's example, all pressure on the Siddaramaiah-led Karnataka government.
ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾಗಿದ್ದು 2013ರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾನ್ಯ ಸಿದ್ದರಾಮಯ್ಯನವರು ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಈ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಮತ್ತು ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. ನೀವು ಬಿಹಾರದ್ದು ಜಾತಿ ಜನಗಣತಿ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು, ಇದು ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಮತ್ತು ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆ ಅಂತ. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಒಂದು ಕುಟುಂಬದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಏನೇನು ಓದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನು ಉದ್ಯೋಗದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾಹಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಸಂಗ್ರಹ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ದತ್ತಾಂಶವನ್ನು BLನವರು ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ, ಏನು ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಇದನ್ನು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಆಯೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆ ವರದಿ ಇದ್ದದ್ರಿಂದ ಪ್ರತಿ ಬಾರಿ ನಾವು ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಜಾತಿಯ ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಂತ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Well, next up, take a look at what's happening in the national capital. Delhi police, in fact, went on and raided the news portal website NewsClick, and here are the details. The Delhi police today conducted fresh raids at 35 locations, including the homes of 7 journalists and sites linked to the news portal NewsClick. The raids were carried out as a fresh case has been filed against NewsClick under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, the UAPA Act. The Delhi police has sealed the offices following the raids. While no arrests have been made so far, the police have indicated that individuals may be detained pending the investigation. Now, the news portal has been under scrutiny by the Economic Offences Wing, the EOW, and the Enforcement Directorate over allegations of receiving funds from China, which were purportedly obtained unlawfully and without proper documentation. One of the journalists, Abhisar Sharma, reported that the Delhi police had visited his home and confiscated his laptop and phone. Special cell teams from the Delhi police also visited residences of other journalists associated with NewsClick, seizing their devices, including laptops and mobile phones. The Press Club of India has expressed concern over the raids, demanding transparency from the government. In August, the New York Times published an investigation alleging that NewsClick received funding from a network connected to US millionaire Neville Roy Singham, with ties to Chinese propaganda. NewsClick's founder, Prabir Purkasthya, responded by stating that these allegations were not new and would be addressed through the appropriate legal channels, as the matter is currently sub judice.
देखिए, मुझे जस्टिफाई करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगर किसी ने गलत किया है तो उसके ऊपर जांच एजेंसियां काम करती हैं, और ये कहीं नहीं लिखा कि आपके पास अगर गलत तरीके से पैसा आया होगा, आपत्तिजनक कोई कार्य होगा, तो उसके ऊपर कोई जांच एजेंसी कार्रवाई नहीं कर सकती. जांच एजेंसियां स्वतंत्र हैं, वो अपनी कार्रवाई नियमों को देखकर करती है.
Next up, India's Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary, while addressing the media ahead of the Indian Air Force Day on the 8th of October, shed light on the current developments taking place within the Air Force. Air Chief Marshal Chaudhary informed that the MiG-21 fighter aircraft would be making its last appearance in the show and would be retired by 2025. The Air Force workhorse will be replaced by the light combat aircraft Tejas. He said that the Air Force was working towards building full spectrum capability to counter the adversary and was cognizant of the dynamics. Talking about the situation at the border with China, Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary informed that the Air Force deployment was still in place at the LAC, as full disengagement was yet to take place.
Firstly, we are constantly monitoring the situation across our borders through persistent ISR, and we make note of the build-up of resources and capabilities across the borders. Our operational plans are very dynamic and keep changing based on the situation that we perceive that is developing across any front. So, in places where we cannot really counter the numbers or the might of the adversary, we will counter it through better tactics and through better training. So, our focus will remain to be dynamic at all times, to have not to have a fixed mindset on terms of deployment of assets in particular areas, but we have a very flexible and dynamic war plans which we keep revising every now and then based on the ISR inputs that we get.
Well, now Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary also talked about the defense collaboration taking place between China and Pakistan and how the Indian Air Force was preparing to counter the joint threat.
तो ट्रांसफर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी दोनों देशों के बीच में हो ही रही है। JF-17 मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हो रहा है पाकिस्तान में, 25 J-10Cs का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है पाकिस्तान का चाइना के थ्रू, और लगभग 15 से ज़्यादा उनको ऑलरेडी डिलीवर हो चुके हैं। वी कीप ऑब्जर्विंग दीज ट्रेंड्स एंड हमें यह भी जानकारी है कि पाकिस्तान और चाइना इकट्ठे ट्रेनिंग करते हैं। उनका हाल ही एक एक्सरसाइज शाहीन हुआ था, तो जो पाकिस्तान के टैक्टिक्स हैं वो चाइना को जरूर इस एक्सरसाइज के थ्रू उनको जानकारी मिलती होगी। तो जहाँ तक हम टेक्नोलॉजी का सामना टेक्नोलॉजी से कर सकते हैं हम कोशिश करेंगे, पर जहाँ पे नहीं हो सकता है हमारी ट्रेनिंग और न्यू टैक्टिक्स हमेशा कंटिन्यूसली इवॉल्व होते रहेंगे। जैसे हमें पता चला है कि दोनों साइड में अभी सिमिलर टाइप की कैपेबिलिटी है, तो हमारे टैक्टिक्स में भी बदलाव आएगा।
And next up, ladies and gentlemen, shifting our focus to Assam, where the government led by Himanta Biswa Sarma have put forth their second op, this against child marriages in Assam. Take a look at this. The Assam government on Tuesday launched a major crackdown against the prevalent cases of child marriages in the state. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma informed about the operation, and taking to the microblogging website X, the Chief Minister said that over 1,000 people had been arrested in a special operation launched by the state police in the early hours today. This is the second such crackdown by the Assam government this very year. In February, the government had launched an unprecedented punitive crackdown against child marriage. A total of 3,141 people had been arrested within a span of a month. This included men who had married underage girls and also family members and religious leaders who had facilitated these marriages. Next up, the Supreme Court on Tuesday adjourned the plea filed by Chandrababu Naidu, former Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, who was seeking to quash the FIR against him in the Andhra Pradesh skill development scam. The Supreme Court postponed the hearing to the next week and also extended Chandrababu Naidu's jail stay by another 6 days. Now, the bench also asked senior advocate Mukul Rohatgi, who is appearing for the Andhra Pradesh government, to place on record all materials which had been previously produced before the High Court in connection with the case. Earlier, the High Court had dismissed Chandrababu's petition, saying that it could not interfere as the probe was still in its final stage. Next up, shifting our focus to Maharashtra. Tragic and fatal information that's coming out of the state. The Maharashtra government has launched an investigation. This following the deaths of 31 patients within a period of 48 hours at the Dr. Shankar Rao Chavan Government Medical College and Hospital in Nanded. This incident marks the second instance of a state-run hospital reporting a high number of deaths within a single day, with a similar incident occurring in August when 18 individuals died at the Thane Municipal Corporation-run Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Memorial Hospital in Kalwa. Now, according to hospital data, among the deceased were 6 infant boys and 6 infant girls, a significant increase from the hospital's average daily death toll of approximately 10 patients. The statement released by the hospital revealed that among the adult patients who passed away, there were cases of heart disease, poisoning, gastric disease, kidney disease, obstetric complications, and accidents, and 4 child patients were in terminal stages and had been referred from private hospitals. Now, the hospital emphasized that more critically ill patients, particularly those in terminal stages, have been arriving from various districts and areas. The medical team and staff are diligently attending to their needs. The hospital also highlighted its history of providing excellent services to the community. Needless to say, all the politicians are making a beeline to this particular hospital. Sloganeering and chants is something that you can hear inside the hospital premises. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde termed the fatalities as unfortunate and pledged a comprehensive investigation into the matter. Opposition parties have criticized the state government for the condition of the public health facilities in the state of Maharashtra. Former Chief Minister and Congress MLA Ashok Chavan called for immediate action to save the 70 seriously ill patients admitted at the hospital currently. Meanwhile, shifting our focus, again, it is, of course, about Prime Minister. And this time around, it's about the Prime Minister's Mann Ki Baat, which is going to soon enter its 10th year. Take a look at this. An in-depth and an analytical study of the Prime Minister's Mann Ki Baat program has been jointly conducted by the Economic Research Department of the State Bank of India in Mumbai and the Decision Sciences at IIM Bengaluru. Now, this research delves into the transformative impact of this pioneering Mass Connect initiative, which is now entering its 10th year on the 3rd of October. The study employs both qualitative and quantitative tools to evaluate the lasting influence of Mann Ki Baat across various domains. Now, notably, the choice of radio as a medium for this initiative appears strategic, given its resurgence as a cost-effective and influential means of celebrating India's diversity. Take a look at this. The recurring mention of revered figures from Mahatma Gandhi to Swami Vivekanand have instilled a sense of confidence in the public. An analysis of Google search results indicates a notable surge in searches related to cultural icons after their mention in Prime Minister's Mann Ki Baat, with sustained mentions leading to increased search activity over time. Several social messages conveyed by the Prime Minister within the program, such as Swachh Bharat, Selfie with Daughter, New India, Unsung Heroes, Vocal for Local, and Har Ghar Tiranga, have effectively transformed into social campaigns. Now, these initiatives have collectively encouraged people to embrace a change-oriented environment while fostering significant behavioral shifts, as confirmed by Google search trends. On the economic front, the consistent reference to various schemes, including PM Mudra, Suvanidhi, Sukanya Samriddhi, Jan Dhan accounts, and direct benefits transfer, the DBT, along with their success stories, have resulted in heightened awareness levels. This heightened awareness is reflected in the increased adoption of these schemes, contributing to equitable prosperity in the masses. And during the challenging phases of the pandemic, Prime Minister Modi's frequent addresses played a crucial role in countering the spread of panic stemming from the false or unsubstantiated rumors. Statistical data confirms the effectiveness of these addressing in neutralizing panic. The study also highlights the substantial impact of Mann Ki Baat on public awareness and interest in historical figures. For instance, after being mentioned in an episode, there was a 25% increase in average searches about Swami Vivekanand. Queries about former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri more than doubled in the last couple of years. Furthermore, there was a 64% increase in the average search volume related to Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishna and 75% increase in searches about the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in the last 5 years. The study explores the influence of Mann Ki Baat on applications for Khadi and Mudra loans, shedding light on its far-reaching impact as it enters the 10th year. And next up, news on international diplomacy. President-elect Dr. Mohammad Muizi of the Maldives, who is seen as having pro-China leanings, has made his first statement regarding the removal of foreign soldiers from the Maldives within the confines of the law. He emphasized that foreign soldiers cannot be stationed in the Maldives against the will of the Maldivian people. Muizu expressed his intention to initiate the process of removing foreign soldiers on his first day in office. The president-elect stated that besides presence of foreign soldiers, the country's economy was enslaved as well. President-elect Muizu addressed economic concerns, stating that the country's economy has been heavily burdened by debt, with a significant portion owed to a specific country. Opposition candidate Mohammad Muizu has won the Maldives presidential election, beating incumbent President Ibrahim Solih in a second-round runoff. This could see a shift in the archipelago's policies, with pro-China stands in the offing. The Election Commission of Maldives announced that Muizu had received 54% of the ballots, while Solih received just 46%. About 85% of the 282,000 eligible voters in the Maldives, known for its pristine beaches and high-end resorts, turned up at more than 586 polling stations across 187 islands in the Maldives. But needless to say, the 75 Indian military personnel that were stationed there are soon going to make their exit. This is Moizu's first move in office. And ladies and gentlemen, bringing you some international developments from Southeast Asia, where 3 people were killed and 4 wounded. This in a shooting at a major Bangkok shopping mall on Tuesday, with the shooter, a 14-year-old by the way, arrested by the police. Now the shooting occurred at the Siam Paragon Mall, one of Thai capital's top shopping destinations, which by the way is hugely popular with tourists and locals alike. Multiple videos circulating on social media showed people running from the Siam Paragon Mall, one of the Thai capital's top shopping destinations, hugely popular with tourists. Premier Sretha Thavasin told reporters that 3 people had been wounded in the incident and that the attacker, a 14-year-old, had been arrested. She said, "Police are cleaning the scene. The situation is easing." The police have also arrested the 14-year-old suspect shooter in the horrific incident. The shooting comes just days before the 1-year anniversary of one of the bloodiest days in recent Thai history, when an ex-police officer armed with a knife and a gun attacked a nursery, murdering 24 children and 12 adults. Thailand has high rates of gun ownership and has a long and violent history of firearm incidents, both small and large. Just back in 2020, a former army officer went on a rampage in a shopping mall in Korat, murdering 29 people and wounding scores others. And well, from Thailand, let's shift our focus to Australia, where the bushfires, it seems, have come back to wreak havoc. Wildfires wreak havoc in eastern Australia, particularly forcing hundreds and thousands to evacuate. Firefighters struggle against challenging conditions and warn residents to seek shelter or flee as gusty winds fan flames in Victoria specifically, destroying several homes. Volunteer brigades brace for the return of catastrophic fires years after the unprecedented blaze that devastated the region. Concerns rise over ample fuel for wildfires due to 2 years of wetter conditions. Communities in the fire-prone areas prepare for potential bushfire resurgence. Years after the unprecedented fires ripped through large swathes of Australia's east, volunteer brigades on the front lines are bracing for a return to the catastrophic conditions. In Picton, south of Sydney, New South Wales, Rural Fire Service Senior Deputy Captain Andy Haynes says that he worries that the 2 years of wetter than average conditions will mean plenty of fuel for wildfires and whether people are prepared for the return of bushfires. In Weisman's Ferry, a river town north of Sydney, volunteers who battled the horrific blazes of the Black Summer in 2019-2020 before facing down several damaging floods are readying themselves for a return of fire to the dense bushland around their homes. Smoke blankets the east coast. Coastal towns have been advised to shelter. Residents in Bermagui, in Katagi and in Baraga Bay have been urged to stay indoors due to perilous conditions. But now on a positive note, ladies and gentlemen, the 2023 Nobel Prize for Physics has been announced. Scientists Pierre Agostini and Ferenc Krauss and Anne Lehuillier won the prestigious award for their experimental methods that generate attosecond pulses of light for the study of electron dynamics in matter. The prize, which was raised this year to 11 million Swedish crowns, which is about $1 million, is awarded by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences.
The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has decided to award the 2023 Nobel Prize in Physics in equal shares to Pierre Agostini, The Ohio State University, USA, Ferenc Krauss, Max Planck Institute for Quantum Optik, Garching, and Ludwig Maximilians Universität München, Germany, and Ann Lyer, Lund University, Sweden, for experimental methods that generate attosecond pulses of light for the study of electron dynamics in matter.
Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, the mass exodus in Nagorno Karabakh continues. An estimated 2/3 of Nagorno Karabakh's population has already fled the former autonomous enclave in Azerbaijan. Refugees arriving in neighboring Armenia told our partner DW that they fear reprisals from Azeri authorities who took back control of the region recently. Take a look at this DW report for more.
Cars stuffed with piles of belongings arriving in Armenia. Each day the number of refugees grows, leaving Nagorno Karabakh increasingly empty. When Azerbaijan took control of Nagorno Karabakh last week, most of the ethnic Armenians decided to leave their homes. They believed they were in danger of extermination, despite Azerbaijan's assurances of their safety. Thousands of new arrivals reach Goris, the first city over the border. This is the first place they can get help and shelter. They share the hardships they went through to get here.
We spent 3 days in traffic. It was a difficult trip. It was a very difficult moment for us to leave our town and our home.
Inside of 3 years, I've lost 2 homes. My 4 young children have heard so many shells and missiles. They cried so much. It affected them psychologically. I just wish my kids had a safe place and went to school like other children.
Armenian city Goris, which is 50 kilometers away from the border, has become a humanitarian hub for ethnic Armenians fleeing Nagorno Karabakh. Thousands of refugees have been arriving at Goris theater, where they're being registered, where the first medical and psychological help is being provided by the volunteers. International organizations have been working here non-stop, as well as the whole city, to provide the refugees with all the necessary. Volunteers in makeshift tents feed people with sandwiches, sweets and tea, things they were deprived of for a long time. The volunteers also say housing all the refugees will be an issue for a small country like Armenia.
I think the most pressing thing seems to be accommodation. There's just it's an overwhelming amount of people, so the country entirely, the system wasn't really prepared to take on this many people, I think.
The hospitality of individual Armenians toward their fellow compatriots eases the burden. The refugees say they feel welcomed. Locals come here to help with whatever they can.
Our town is supporting people, especially kids. The locals are doing whatever they can. They provide shelter and feed them. Our town can do this.
Some refugees have been in Goris for a few days, sleeping in their cars, waiting to register. Some plan to go to the capital city of Yerevan and live with their relatives. Others say they have no one to go to. All of them are overwhelmed by the uncertainty of their future.
And shifting our focus to South America, where South America's largest freshwater lake is drying up. Lake Titicaca is the most important water resource on the Andean plateau. But over the last 2 decades, its waters have been dropping. The driest period in almost half a century is making life near impossible, especially for the farmers. A DW report coming up next.
Lake Titicaca is drying up. Drought and high temperatures mean water levels are approaching an all-time low. That's affecting the indigenous communities in the area. Pedro Quinta has farmed here for 60 years. He's increasingly concerned about the lack of rain. It's very serious. The lake is shrinking in depth and width at the same time. Years ago, it always rained. Now it doesn't rain anymore. In recent years, the lake has been losing water at an alarming rate. On the left side are images recorded by DW in 2022. On the right, the same area a year later. There's not a drop of water in sight. In 2001, there was water up to the community over there, called Lakaya. The water had risen up to that point. It was all covered by the lake. Now there's no longer water. It's already disappeared. The drying lands have caused changes to the agricultural cycle. We normally plant potatoes here, beans, barley, quinoa, everything that grows here. But now we can't grow anything. The animals are left to eat dry grass. We can no longer live here with our animals. We just cannot live here with the cattle anymore. José Luis Montaño, from Bolivia's Institute of Hydraulics and Hydrology, says that climate change is to blame. The increase in temperature due to climate change is causing an increase in the evaporation rate. That means a greater amount of water is evaporating. Therefore, there is a reduction of the water surface on Lake Titicaca. Many people here feel hopeless. Some have already left. We have sons and daughters, and most of them go to the capital, La Paz, or to another country. You can't live here anymore. There isn't even pasture. Pedro Quenta feels abandoned. Nobody helps us. It would be great if the government did something, but they don't even come to see what happens here. Pedro wants an irrigation system. But while he waits for the government, he prays for rain.
Well, now shifting our focus, repurposing of Hitler's birthplace has sparked concern. After decades of debate, the so-called House of Evil is said to become a police station. Residents of Braunau, the Austrian town where Adolf Hitler was born, have voiced irritation over what appears to them an unfortunate repurposing of the building. DW, our partners report coming up next.
House of Evil. That's what some people in Austria call the birthplace of Adolf Hitler. It stood empty for many years. Now a police station is set to move in. Building work should start within days. A decision not welcomed by everyone, because it is seen as an attempt to end debate about the place.
In my opinion, it is a sign of fear that a police station is being established here. Because people are afraid that neo-Nazis could cause trouble here and think that could be prevented by a permanent presence of police. It is a defensive move, not an offensive one.
In the past, the building was used by a charity for people with disabilities. Then, in 2016, the Austrian government requisitioned the house, saying it wanted to tear it down. Then it decided to convert it into a police station, saying it wanted to stop it becoming a neo-Nazi shrine. Residents in the town of Braunau would have preferred a different solution.
I am somewhat undecided. There used to be a social aid office here where I did my civil service. There will probably be a better solution, a social institution.
I
have thought a lot about this issue and think that using it for another social or cultural institution would have been better. So I'm not really in favor of a police station. I would have preferred it if they had left it as it was. It did not harm anyone and could have housed social aid institutions once again.
To complicate matters even more, an old newspaper article has emerged that says Hitler himself wanted his birthplace to be converted into an administrative building. So some say it now looks like the Austrian government might be inadvertently fulfilling Hitler's own wish. Vienna wanted to end the debate about the House of Evil. Instead, it's very much alive.
Well, it's a house of evil or a socio-economic cultural center or a police station. What's the better fit? We'll let the people of Brown now decide for themselves. Meanwhile, that's all the time we have for you in this edition of Top Stories. This is Kabir Naqvi signing off. Lots more coming on News 9 Live. Don't go anywhere.
GPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.
A human has to be in the loop with an ability to control this.
Dark Side of the Boom. Streaming now.
इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं जो कि सभी लोग कर रहे हैं.
Coaching is now starting from grade 3, 4, 5, 6.
कोटा जाने वाली बीच राह में आधे टेस्ट देके हैं सिलेक्शन की चाह में.
ऑल इंडिया का बच्चा कोटा जाता है.
This rat race is for rats, not for humans. So why should we even be a part of it?
The Rat Race. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9 Plus. Download now.
साथियों, आज के अखबारों में सेंट्रल बैंक डिजिटल करेंसी की भी काफी चर्चा है. इससे डिजिटल इकोनॉमी को बहुत बल मिलेगा.
Introduction of a central bank digital currency will give a big boost to digital economy.
डिजिटल पेमेंट, ऑनलाइन पेमेंट, रिटेल पेमेंट ज्यादा सुरक्षित होगा, रिस्क फ्री होगा. इससे कैश को प्रिंट करने, हैंडल करने, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने में जो बोझ पड़ता है वो भी कम होगा.
E-rupee is digital rupee. Quite simply put, it's India's own digital currency. Just like you have your currency notes which you can hold in your hands physically, this one you can hold the e-rupee in a digital form, in a virtual form, in a wallet online. The e-rupee is essentially India's CBDC or Central Bank Digital Currency. The Reserve Bank of India, India's central bank, launched the e-rupee officially on the 1st of December 2022. And since then, the e-rupee is being tried out in a pilot by a few traders and a few individuals in the country. And as of now, there are about 16.5 crore rupees worth of e-rupees available, which is less than 0.0001% of all the currency notes of rupees that's available in the country.
You don't print, and creating a digital currency is no cost. Absolutely no cost. It is like you and I creating a painting on a computer. Right, so it's no cost. It goes into your routine IT computer links that you maintain or Wi-Fi you maintain, so it will go like that. It saves a lot of hassles to RBI. It saves the fake currency issue also, because if there is no print, there is no fake currency. It's all digital.
Around 130 countries across the world, which account for 98% of the world's GDP, are all developing their own CBDC or central bank digital currency. 19 of the G20 countries